Can you hear me now, Don?
I hear you now. This is something else. What do you
Did you
think's
invite?
happening here? It's not loading right?
I don't know. I think it's a Google Plus thing. I don't understand how it all works, but it seems like it's just sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Usually when I do a test and then I check it on YouTube, it goes right up to YouTube. I don't know if it's because I've got two accounts and one account is not hooked up to YouTube or the other one. I don't know. I'm afraid to do anything because whenever I touch something, I'm causing more harm than good.
So you're doing the Hangouts on air, right?
Right. That's what I'm doing right now. It's supposed to be on air.
So can you invite Langford then, so he has the new link?
I thought I just put, there's Jason. I thought I put it up for everybody that was in my groups. There's Jason. Can you hear us okay, Jason? Yeah, he must have faded out.
Right.
No, I'm here.
You hear it? Oh, okay. You got your B question. Pop it in before we lose the signal again. We've been popping in and out like Rice Krispies tonight.
What are you talking to?
Fatbeeman.
Oh, really? No, I was talking to Jason. He's on his computer talking to somebody.
Yeah, I don't know if Langford's gonna find it or for some reason won't let me invite anybody.
I don't know. You know, when I go to start inviting, if I invite like team members or close friends or people that's following, if I click on public, it won't post it. I don't know what the deal on that is. I guess I'm going to have to put everybody in close friends or following or something where it'll post to everybody. Since my Facebook thing crashed, I ain't had communication with anybody.
I don't know what we got to do about that.
Do you think by restoring the computer back a month ago that it would restore it back to the original thing?
No, because Facebook is not on your computer. Facebook is just a web page that you go to. So if you restore your computer, that won't help you with Facebook.
Well, if you look through on Facebook, I mean, a lot of the old posts are here and there. They're just scattered everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I did a Google search on it and trying to find out, why your group was. I mean, you're still the administrator of the fatbeeman group, but
I can't make no post on it, though.
yeah, it's like you're the administrator, but you're not.
Well, it's like I'm locked out of my own groups. I don't know what happened.
I find a teenager to help you. They understand all this stuff.
Well, that's the trouble. My granddaughter, she don't do it, and she don't do hangouts, and I have to depend on students when they show up. And being it's been so cold, not too many people showing up.
Right.
So once it starts warming up, then I'll have more people.
Well, I don't know. Next week, Don, do you want, that couple weeks that we did it where I started it?
Yeah.
Do you want to try that again next week, or?
Yeah, that might be the thing to do.
And then
because for some reason, when I do a test here, it goes up to my YouTube channel.
Right.
But yet, when I try to do a hangout with people and talk to them, it's not doing nothing. I'm having problems.
Yeah, because I got 2 of them on my YouTube right now for, I've got them marked private so nobody can get into them, but, yeah, we went 2.5 hours that one night,
Yeah.
and you couldn't get connected, or I can't remember what the deal was, but if you want me to host it, and then, I could save the YouTube file and then transfer it to you with TeamViewer or something like that, and then you could put it on your YouTube that way.
Okay. Yeah, we might just do that there. There's something that is not working right. I don't know what it is. But I want to try to get Hangouts to where I can do it easily myself and do it on a regular basis. And I want to eventually get it up to where I can do like private lessons online.
Right.
Because I got people from everywhere that's talking about that's what they want to do. A one-on-one or get 4 or 5 people as a group and do it on a regular class basis.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of bee groups out there that would love to see that.
Well, I want to try to do it before I get Alzheimer's. I might have it now. I can't get on Hang-Ups.
The other thing that I was going to mention is that, because you scheduled this earlier in the week, right?
Right.
So, and then I think you were trying to troubleshoot your speakers or camera or something, and then you went out and back into it.
Yeah.
I think once you're in it, I think you just got to stay with it. Otherwise, the linking is wrong, because I think you end up starting a new one, don't you?
I think that's what's happening, because when I went to the original one that was posted as an event, then it shows it's pre-recorded.
That's what I got too, and then it's just a 10-minute video of you staring at my monitor here.
Yeah.
Well, tonight I just got the notification like minutes ago, right before I came in, that it started at 8:30, and I didn't get it till right when I came in the room.
Huh.
Well, what I'll have to do is try to get everybody. I'll have to find out what is the best way to post that. And if it's in groups or as following or whatever it is, that way I can just open up the Hangout and click on those things there, and just everybody will just have to remember I'm going to try to do it on Saturdays, 8 o'clock. But we'll just let David set up the host as next week and see if we can get it to go that way. Because there's definitely people out there want to ask me something, if nothing else, how the weather is.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, the first one you did, I couldn't think of nothing, and when we were done, I thought of a lot of questions, and now I can't think of them again.
Well, I mean, that's why I want to try to do these, because somebody might be across the country and ask a question that pertains to what you want, or it'll jog your memory to what you want to ask.
Yeah. I mean, some of my things, stuff that I just go through in my head is wintering. You know, I guess when you're in them all the time, you know, you can see what's going on. But when you shut that box up in the fall, and you're not going to open it again until spring, or, you know, when it gets warm, is just preparing for that, so that you know you're not going to get moisture on the, which I know you don't run inner covers. You know, because I've read that moisture kills bees more than cold weather.
Oh yeah, that's a definite fact. That's one reason I don't run inner covers, because inner covers you're going to have ants, roaches, and hive beetles up there. By drilling your box out and putting more moisture there, and if you're worried about robbing, just put a screen across it, and that way the bees, they'll propolize it shut. I'd rather have too much moisture in a hive than not enough. Moisture is the biggest thing that's going to kill your bees, not the cold.
Right. So you just drill a hole in the top super for a ventilation hole?
I drill them in all the boxes, even the high boxes, the deep boxes. I put them under the handhold, and I put a piece of screen over it, because a lot of times if I'm running out of equipment, I'll grab a high body and just throw a piece of camping on the bottom and just use it to make a split real quick. Because when spring comes here, you don't have time to go out and build a bunch of boxes. You're going to fill up your boxes faster than you can build them.
And you don't have any issues with like rainwater blowing in the holes or crazy things like that?
What you want to do is get your hive level crossways and then lengthwise, and I like to put a minimum of a 3/4 board under the back. And I build my stands to where I can put about 6 to 10 hives on a stand. And I keep my bottom board at least knee high. That way you don't have to bend over. It's easier on the back. And if you've got a box of honey there, pull the honey. Don't just keep stacked boxes on top of boxes. Because the bees, you know, once they get enough honey in there, they're not going to work as hard as if you pulled the honey off that was capped up.
Right. Do you do anything different if your box has a migratory top cover instead of a telescoping top cover?
No, you know, I would use the migratory ones. I used to use them in the past, but one reason I don't like to use them is if you don't have a block on the front and a block on the back, a cement block or some weight, if you're using plywood, it seems to warp up. Telescoping lid, I run 1.5 inch band around the edges, and that holds it down a lot flatter. But I'm also in the process of getting rid of a lot of plywood. I'm slowly replacing it with Vantech. And Vantech, I've got some out there now. If you get old scrap Vantech off of a job site, once you make that lid, it's flat. I've got some out there 3 years, and they don't have one bit of warping in them. Or plywood, if you get a moisture in it, sometimes in 6 months, one corner starts to buck up a little bit. And if you don't have a honey flow, if you don't have sealed up feeders, you might get a robbing problem.
Yeah. What did you call that? Vantech?
Vantech, V-A-N-T-E-C-K, I think, or T-K.
Yeah,
They're using it on a lot of houses. It holds up real well.
Anybody else gonna come in, you think?
I don't know. Might hang around here for a few minutes. Jason might have a whole bunch of questions. Now, getting ready to go off, he got a whole list of them probably.
I'm gonna start writing them down.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean, because somebody being new, I mean, you get the opportunity. Even though I'm in my local bee club and I'm taking a class that's been 9 weeks long, there's not really a lot of interaction. There is, once a month when we have our meetings, but to have the opportunity to sit down and talk to somebody that's done it practically all their life, heck yeah, I'm gonna start writing them down.
Well, I mean, if I go to bee clubs, to a lot of people, they want to ask a lot of questions, but yet when it's time to ask a question, they get embarrassed about asking a question. They think it's, kind of stupid or it's going to embarrass them in that. But if you don't ask it, you're not going to know. And,
Right.
I want to help the beekeeper not make mistakes that I have. Because the mistakes that I've made, no one showed me. I had to make them, and then it cost you money.
Yeah, that's kind of how the school of hard knocks teaches you. You get the lesson after you make the mistake.
It gets costly.
Yes. But so is this something you're going to try to start doing on a regular basis?
I want to try to do it on a regular basis because there's not enough people that's willing to take the time to answer questions or to help someone. I mean, it seems like every year goes by, it's a dog-eat-dog situation. Even if you go to bee clubs, you think beekeeping's top secret. Everybody's got something. I don't want to tell them. They might be a little bit ahead of me, or this one's got more information. They don't want to share nothing.
Well, funny you say that, because I was getting ready to say the same thing. The past 2 months, I've asked, is there anyone who would be willing to mentor? Help me, let me come to their yard, because I don't have bees yet. I won't have them till maybe the end of April, 1st of May. But no one actually said, yeah, come. I told them, I said, I'll just stand there. I won't talk. Just let me watch.
Well, that's why I try to do as much as I can. That was one of the reasons I started putting videos up on YouTube. That was some of my students' ideas. Probably 10 years ago, we started putting stuff up, and it's basically to help other people out.
Yeah.
And my approach is strictly common sense stuff. I mean, if I don't say something to you, you can sit there and basically figure it out. I mean, the bees will let you know what they need and what they don't need.
Yeah.
It's just when you start listening to people, well, this is the way you do it, and you go buy this and you buy that, and this is the end result. There's always a lot of different ways to keeping bees.
Right.
There's the poor man's way and there's the rich man's way. So, you can spend the money where you want.
Yeah. Has some of your YouTube videos, have you moved them or taken them down? Because there's some up there that I used to like to watch that aren't there anymore.
Well, I've been going back and see, I've got the videos. Paul sent me some copies of the DVDs he made, and I haven't even had a chance to look at them. And I think what they are is a collection. Some of them probably been edited down a little bit, refined, but a lot of it's on YouTube. So I had people send me emails that they didn't like to pay for a DVD that they could watch on YouTube. So I just sat down one day and I went through, and a lot of them that had real good information, and I thought I'd just make them unlisted until he comes down and starts shooting more live videos himself.
Yeah.
See, a lot of that stuff is stuff that we've done over the years. And it's not just on YouTube, it's podcasts that I've done. I've done different presentations at bee clubs and stuff. And people's been here from all around the country. They've shot videos here. And some of that stuff is up on YouTube. It's under different people's name, but I'm trying to get it all in one place to where it's easy to access. And there is people out there, even though there is stuff on YouTube, that has made a comment, well, if you had it on DVD, it would be handy, and I'd like to have one. So that's one of the reasons that Paul had done those.
Yeah.
But he's going to come down from Toronto, and in the springtime, he'll probably be here for a week, and then he'll be back again probably 3-4 weeks or a month after that, and he'll be shooting more. He's going to bring his camera. He's going to shoot the videos. He's probably going to have me a script to follow, like a TV show or something. I don't know. I try to just shoot from the hip. When we go have our students, we go out there, we open boxes. If something pops out that shouldn't be there, that's what we cover that day, and try to help students as this is what you see and this is how you fix it. People don't
Right.
really like to see videos, I think, that have been cleaned up so much and edited out that you don't see what the real thing is.
Right.
One of my students shot a video on making queen candy, and I thought that, because he edited some of the stuff that he put up, and I was making queen candy at his bee yard, and he just happened to look at me when I was doing the video, and I said, "This candy is just like snot. It shouldn't be that way. It's supposed to be thicker." I
Yeah.
thought he would edit it out. He left it in. So from that point on, we just basically left a lot of stuff that, if we screw up, we screw up. I mean, that's what other beekeepers is going to do.
Sure. But yeah, there was one video in particular I like to watch a bunch, and it ain't there no more.
Well, I feel like I'm wanted then. But I've
No.
gone through, there's 200 and some videos up, and I went through the first 2 pages that we had there, and I put them back public. So there's probably another 30 or so that they're up now. But as I get time, it takes a long time to go through each one, go through the whole
Yeah.
process to set them back up to where they're public again. But the only ones that probably won't be is the step-by-step building feeders, the step-by-step making foundations, stuff like that. Those will probably still be private or unlisted where you pay per view.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do more on when we start to get better weather back to grafting, step-by-step, because I want to set those up as ebooks where, if somebody wants to learn queen rear and they come here and pay me $100 for the day, or they can see the video for 95 cents, and if they can't get it the first time, look at it 2 or 3 times for 95 cents. And that's what I'm working on now with Matt. He does my Dixie Bee Supply page. And he's trying to get my plans up there where you can pay to get the download on the plans and do the ebooks and things like that. I want to try to get as much educational stuff out there as I possibly can. I want to try to get as many hangouts out there to where I can have a one-on-one with a person and they can ask a question and get an answer right then. Because the video's okay, it gives you a how-to on something or a direction, but it's like a book. You can't open the book up and ask the book a question if you have a problem.
Right.
Hey Don, I thought of a question.
Okay.
There's a few beet sugar plants north of where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever? I think you said one time in chat that you would go and they sweep up or they had sweepings that they called it.
Yeah, it's floor sweepings, but you can buy what they call beet sugar from a plant. It's usually about 1/4 as much as white cane sugar, unless you're going to pull a lot of honey and you're just using it to build bees up. It works just as good.
Well, I'm just curious. So, how do you just make contact with somebody there about their sweepings, or?
Yeah, you can do that. Most of the places, like there's a lot of bakeries that have floor sweepings. They're making frosting on different sweet stuff, and this stuff, it hits the floor. Bottlers, a lot of your bottlers are using cane sugar, and some of them are using that fructose, that liquid stuff. I try to stay away from that because I like to know what I'm putting in the bees. And when it's liquid, you don't know what additives or whatever's in it.
Right. Because the best I can find is Costco has 50-pound bags for about $25 of cane sugar.
That's more. See, right now I'm buying it in bulk. It's probably running me about 12 to 15 cents a pound. But I buy it in barrels. I could probably get it cheaper if I buy totes. But totes are hard to handle. They got 1,800 pounds to about 2,200 pounds. And it's like some of them are plastic and some of them are like a big old bag that can put
Right.
almost a ton in it. And storage problem is your biggest thing. And if you don't have a place dry and a piece of equipment to move it, you can lose more sugar than it's actually saving. The barrels for me works out good because I can go up and get 20 barrels at a time and I can set them outside and I just tip them up on an angle a little bit, like put a block or a piece of 3/4 board under one corner, and that keeps the rain, it kind of moves off to the side, runs off. So if the lid fits pretty good and the band that goes on it is good, I've had them out there 6, 8 months and they still be dry. You might get a little moisture for the first inch or so at the top, right about where the edge of the barrel comes at, but not a big thing. Going to mix it with water anyhow.
Yeah, I
Sugar's
drove
your
by
main
one the other
thing.
day. I was gonna stop in and ask, but I wasn't sure if you had said that about the sweepings or what I should do with them.
If you can get them and you can get them cheap enough, I mean, I would buy them. In Costco, you cannot afford to buy sugar from Costco and keep bees. And if you're starting a beehive up, most people don't realize it, but it's going to take you 25 to 35 pounds of sugar per hive to get it up and running. And
Right.
that's, if you don't have a honey flow and you put new foundation in there, they got to have something to work with. You'll use a
Well,
lot less if there's a honey flow.
yeah, and I know it's just my ego or arrogance or whatever you want to call it, but I, I never I never used to feed the bees in the spring, and now I'm starting to realize that it's just affecting how much honey we do get out of them.
Right.
Um, so I'm gonna do that all different this year. This year is gonna be we're gonna do stuff a lot differently this year. My wife's gonna focus on selling the honey, and I'm gonna work on queens and feeding. So
Well, there's a lot of people that have a lot of ideas out there, and you can be a purist all you want. You can be a naturalist all you want and say you don't want to feed your bees, but you just take common sense. If you're a human and you're hungry, you don't eat, you're going to start dwindling away. You're going to get, you know, starvation. So by feeding sugar to the bees, it's not harming them one bit. And if you get them built up good, you're going to get 10 times back in just honey. If those bees are not in good strength, full shape before honey flow, you're missing out on a lot of honey.
yeah, see this last year our alfalfa and clover was completely dried up, and you take the lids off my boxes and it looked like a volcano erupting with bees. And
Well, you have a lot of bees, and see, they'll starve real quick if there's no honey flow.
right, I missed it. I mean, by the time they got their numbers up there, it was over.
Yeah, yeah. You use the honey flow to build your bees, and that is backwards.
Right.
You got to build them before the honey flow.
Yeah, so I plan on feeding them this year. I was trying to find some ideas on where to get sugar from.
Have you tried bakeries, large bakeries, or stores? Costco, don't they have a bakery at Costco?
I believe so, and I know the manager of Costco, our local one anyway, and he
Well,
said,
you could go to Costco, you could go to Kroger's, Ingles, any of your large grocery stores that have an in-house bakery. They buy their sugar frosting in buckets. It's food grade buckets, and tell them don't even wash the bucket. You're going to use it for bee feed. You'll clean them up yourself. Now I've seen some bakeries throw out a 5 gallon bucket or a 2.5 gallon bucket with 2 inches of icing in the bottom.
"Oh, really?"
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is basically it goes back to when they used to mix up sugar and Crisco for trachea mites. So the frosting basically is just cane sugar with a little Crisco with it. It's not going to hurt your bees.
Um, my one daughter actually works in a bakery at a grocery store, so I'll have to ask her about it.
Yeah, ask her about it. See, The buckets is great for storing honey. When you got a good honey flow and one bloom stops and another one starts, like if your alfalfa comes in after your clover, as soon as the clover's about done, then you pull that all up and save it for the alfalfa. Or it could be the other way around.
You should have seen the clover this year around here. It was so thick. It was just, you drive down the interstate highway and it looked like all the ditches and the median, everything was completely yellow as far as you could see. Miles and miles and miles of it.
Well, that's when you have to make the thing. But if you got your honey, if you got your bees build up towards the end of a honey flow, that is the best time right there when the honey flow starts to wean off on you to make your splits and then
Yep.
have your sugar.
Yeah,
Because
with any luck, I'm gonna have
jump from 10 hives to 100 quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's another one I'm gonna try this year. Is I talked to an old time beekeeper around here, and he said third week in August, pull your honey, you're done. And so I think that's what we're gonna try this year. Whatever honey we got August 3rd or the third week in August, we're done with honey, and then we're gonna try and make splits and get them all fed up before winter again.
Yeah, you can do that, and then that's the time to make splits. And try to run some of them. I don't know if you've tried it yet, but run some of your hives in 5-frame nukes over the winter. Put a hive top feeder on them, and it seems they'll go through the winter better than a big heavy hive.
Yeah, I'm gonna make some more nukes here too. It's been really cold here the last, I don't know, month and a half, but I'm gonna get out in the workshop and get some of those built.
Can't build enough. That's what you need to do, Jason. Build, build, build.
That's what I'm trying to do. Do you just do a single story 5 frames, just one box over winter?
You mean to go through the winter with?
Yeah.
Well, what I do is all my 8-frame stuff by September, middle of September, I try to get everything into 5-frame boxes, 5-frame nukes with a hive top feeder. And whatever honey they got, I divide it up. If I got a good strong 8-frame, I'll make 3 nukes out of it and put a queen cell with the ones that don't have a queen in it. And then the hive top feeder, I'll start feeding back by October. I start feeding back honey. And as long as they got some weight on them, they're going to go through it. A 5-frame nuke with a cluster of bees the size of a softball will make it through the winter a lot better than a double deep 10-frame. Believe me. The heat loss is where you use your honey up.
So you're saying in a 5-frame nuke, a cluster the size of a softball?
Yep. Yep. Sure
Wow.
will.
Because I've heard you say it, and I think one of your students, I can't remember his name, Bluebird Bee Supply, that guy, he talked about taking all his out and putting them in nukes to overwinter.
Well, there's a lot of people that's come here from all over the states, and when they first see what I'm doing, they shake their head and say, this don't work because this ain't what someone's taught them. But when you start talking to people that's doing it and ask them what their losses are, when you talk 1 to 3 and 4% losses for the winter versus big strong hives and losing 50 to 70%, I would much rather take a hive and split it, make 3 or 4 nukes out of it. Now I got 4 times the chances of making 1 hive through the winter than I do with just 1.
And then when spring comes, do you combine them back into your 8-frame stuff?
That's one thing I never have done. To me, that is absolutely backing up. What are you going to do with the extra queen? Kill her? That's old thinking.
No, I would just think that you would take, if you had 1 8-frame and you made 3 nukes, and you made it through the winter with all 3, now you've got 3 8-frame hives.
Well, if the 5-frame is in good shape in the springtime, we start feeding, usually about the end of February. Actually, we're coming up on March right now, but we're still in a cold spell.
Here
and
too.
in the next week or 2, we're supposed to be up 65 to 70. Mm-hmm. So I'll start putting sugar to them and building. So, the next 4 weeks, I'm building up fast.
So how do you refill your 8-frame boxes that you took bees out of?
When the 5-frame box gets strong enough, We divide it, make two 8 frames out of it, and we put an entrance reducer on it and put the sugar to them.
Okay, so you will put your
Always
5 frames
going
eventually
forward,
back in
not
it.
going backwards.
But you will put your 5 frames back into your 8 frames once they
Yeah,
get strong.
yeah. Because when we put the sugar to them, we could go through a 55-gallon barrel of sugar a week, or we could go through 3 or 4 barrels. But I'm making bees, and the
Right.
faster I can make those bees multiply, in all my videos I try to do everything as easy as possible. So if you got a single story out there and you put the sugar to them, the minute they get crowded, you got 8 frames in there. 4 to 5 of them is going to have cells, and each frame it's got 4 to 15 cells. That's each frame's making 15 more splits. I'm a
Yep, you
splitting
just,
fool in the springtime.
yeah.
Numbers make money.
Yeah, and if like you've said countless times, they make honey and they multiply.
That's the only 2 things they do.
And
And
if
people that talk about weak hives and combining them, I have never figured that out. A 5-frame hive going through the winter is going to be weak, but if it survives the winter, I think you've got some decent bees then. You only need enough bees in that hive with honey or available feed there to keep that queen warm. If nothing else, if all them bees, they'll sacrifice their life, but they'll keep that queen warm and going through the winter. And if you got a cluster in there to half the size of a basketball in a 10-frame hive, I'd guarantee you could go out there right now and you're going to find brooding there, because that queen does not stop laying all year. They
and
don't
I,
lay as much, but she constantly is laying.
and I guess doing what you're doing by taking them into 5 frames is actually making increases through the
Fast,
winter.
yeah.
Because that's what I want to do. I can't afford to buy bees every year.
Well, there's no need to. I mean, if you're going to get into doing this as a business, the only reason I would see that you need to buy any bees, and I do it myself, is I try to buy stock from different breeders that have a good reputation. And if the bees don't pan out to my liking, I get rid of those queens. I
Right.
want bees that are gentle, I want bees that's going to live, and I want bees that's going to make honey.
Do you ever take package bees and put them in nukes and put queens in them and then get the nuke strong and sell it as a nuke?
I'm getting ready to do it at the end of March. I'm going down. I got bee yards in South Georgia. See, I keep 15 yards down there. We're going down the 3rd week in March, and we're going to shake 300 packages down there, and we're going to bring them up here, and we're going to dump a 3-pound package into a 5-frame nuke. And as soon as the queen's out and starting to lay, we'll take that 5-frame box and divide it by 2 and put another queen cell in it. And then I'll turn around and I'll sell that in 4 weeks as a nuke. You tell me where you could take a package at today's prices, $70 to $80 for a 2-pound package, and triple your money in 15 days.
You make me want to quit my job, Don.
That's the
Well,
goal.
you followed me around for what, 10 years? And I do this for a living every day. I don't have 10 hives and write a book and tell you do this and do that.
So how not that of course I know you got them, but how in the world do you manage bees at your house and way down in South Georgia with as much as you got going on?
I used to live down in South Georgia. So I live 20 miles from the Florida line. And that's where I started my commercial beekeeping. So I have lots of yards down there. I moved north up to the mountains. So what I have an arrangement with where I got them is those people manage my bees. They keep all the honey. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down in the springtime and I'm shaking packages. And then I shake packages again in the fall.
You give them the work and you take the money.
There you go. In my videos, I cuss all the time. That honey's in the way.
Yep.
Darn stuff.
Yep. All it does is buy for your French fry mobile, I think as you put it.
Yeah. Well, if you take a hive of bees and you're going to produce honey. Everybody goes through that stage. How much honey? I could take a 5-frame box and sell a 5-frame for 175 bucks. So how high or how many supers you need to do that? I'm turning my 5-frame boxes out here. I'm turning 4 nukes out of the same box 4 times a month. So that's 4 times 175. Now you got a pretty high stack of honey there. Plus you got to have, if you're going to do honey, you got to have a lot of equipment, more help. It's more aggravation it's worth.
Yeah, people found out around here I was going to start trying to do bees, and that's all they want to know is honey, honey, honey. And
Yeah,
I
well,
just grin and say, okay, yeah, sure, I'll get you some.
I have people that'll stop here, and I'm running anywhere from 200 to 500 hives on 6 acres right here. And my front yard, you can see on the videos, I've got 300 and some nukes, and I got probably 50 8-frame hives in the front yard. People drive up my driveway and look at all that and say, don't you have any honey for sale? And I look at them and say, I ain't got no honey. And, you know, they say, with all them hives, they don't realize, sell a jar of honey, I could take that same jar of honey and I could do 3 or 4 nukes with it.
Yeah.
With a lot less headache.
Yeah, because, you know, I've said before, I'm kind of in central North Carolina here, and you can't find local bees here right now. They're all spoken for.
Well, the fella that you're talking about, Bluebird, he's one of my students, and he quit his corporate job, making big money, and he was worried about getting into commercial beekeeping. And he's doing right now, after I would say 15, 16 months, and he's already established now, and he's doing between $5,000 and $6,000 a week. And he's building all the time because I send him customers. He's just down the road about probably 45 minutes to an hour from me. So when people call and they want nukes, they want packages, I send them to my students. I try to do more teaching and less work.
Yeah. And my wife said, she goes, look, we need all this snow we've had. Let's get out of the house and go somewhere. And I said, let's go to Don's. I said, it's only 3.5 hours. She's
well, if you're going to take a vacation, take it now, because if you're going to have very many hives, you're not going to have a vacation. I haven't had a vacation in years. The closest thing I get to a vacation is leave the state and speak at a bee club.
Yeah. Well, I'm only going to start with 2, but I don't know. What's a realistic number to if you start with 2 nukes?
I have one of my students, you can look on the internet, he's got his bee company as Flippin' Bee.
Mm-hmm.
The Flippin' Bee Company. He started a year ago with 2 nukes and 4 packages, and the first year he built up to 60-some hives, and that ain't even counting. I was sending him business. He was selling nukes and queens. This year, he's buying 50 packages. So, you know, you can see that he's turning some money.
So in 1 year, he went from 2 nukes and 4 packages to 60 hives.
And he's got a full-time job. He's going to quit his job next year.
That's what I would love to do.
If you just take 10% of the stuff that I put on YouTube, you can make money. You got to remember, money is in bees, not in honey.
Right. And what they put in the hive, the wax, the propolis.
Yeah. And I'm scraping #1 propolis out of my hive, and I sell it in Atlanta for $60 a pound. In the UK, it's bringing $600. And I threw that crap on the ground for years. It sticks in your shoes. It sticks in everything.
What do they use it for?
They're using, well, the guy in Atlanta is using it. He makes tinctures for cough. He's using it in lip balms, in different salves. They're using it in the UK for cancer research now. And I sent some to Australia a year and a half ago.
That's what I've told my wife. You know, I don't tell a lot of people my plans because a lot of people laugh at you. But I said, anything that honeybee puts in that box, you can sell it.
Well, I don't try to sell wax, but my capping wax without chemicals, I don't use chemicals in, and I'm not even trying to sell. I stopped selling my wax because I can't make enough myself, but I sold some a year ago for $20 a pound.
Oh, yeah. At what point does getting a wax mill start being beneficial to you as opposed to buying foundation?
It depends on your philosophy. I bought my first mill back in '90, and I bought it basically to save money, and then because I could not find any wax that didn't have chemicals.
Because foundation is out, it's gone up even, because when I bought some at the end of last year to this year, it's gone up 10 to 15%.
Well, it's going up more all the time. Nothing's going to go down.
Oh, no. No. But, you
I
know,
don't know if you listen to every video, but I teach my students and I explain to them about honey. You can produce honey and you can sell it at your farm, at your door, and you might get away with it for years. But it only takes one time. You got a bunch of labels on it, and you got it spread here and spread there, and then you get a call from someone, and they say, "This is Joe, and I'm at the hospital, and they're pumping my stomach. I ate your honey." Whether they ate your honey or not, you had a label on it, and they picked up one of your jars, and now they want to sue you. So even if it's not your honey, minimal $2,000 to get a lawyer. So unless you're buying extra insurance, liability, to me it ain't worth it. I sell you some bees, you know there's a stinger on the other end. So you have less liability.
True. Yep. And I have heard you say that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's not as I make it up as I go. It's I walk it, I talk it, I sleep it.
Yeah. Like I said in the first one, the one thing I can say about you is you're consistent.
Yeah.
You can watch videos that are 3 years old to new ones, and it's and I'm not saying it to be negative, but it's the same speech, it's the same mantra, it's the same message, you know. So, I mean, obviously, either you've got a real good, well-rehearsed script, or you're living what you're talking, and I believe it's the latter.
Well, I've shot enough videos in different parts of my yard, you know, that you can see basically, you know, what it is.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
not trying to, you know, come on something that I'm not. I'm just basically a hard-working guy. I work daylight to dark. My students come here 9 to 5, and I try to do a couple hours work before they get here and a few hours after.
Yeah, and that's basically what I'm saying is, you know, obviously. That's what I'm saying is obviously what you're doing is working, and that's what you're teaching. It's not like you watch a video from 2 years ago and you're saying something different than you are today. It's consistent across the board through the years. And that's why I keep coming back to your videos.
You get a good learning experience, but, you know, you need to, if you want to do this, do it. I try to tell people, if you're going to get in, because I have people come up here, walk around, look at the yard, and you can see their eyes rolling around. It's like a damn calculator. They're figuring up how much money you make. They don't understand the work that goes into it. Right. And I tell them, you know, if you love bees and you don't mind working the hours, you will make some money. But don't get into beekeeping to think you're going to get rich. I have not gotten rich in 60 years. I eat every day. My bills are paid, and that's all I can hope for. And I seem to be healthy working bees than under stressful jobs working for somebody else. My son works for somebody else, and he's stressed out. I was already saying he don't like his job now. 15 years. He wants to get into bees now.
I was going to say, is there anybody behind you so that when, you know...
Well, I'm hoping he'll take over. My daughter and my son grew up in the bee business, but they didn't want to get involved in it. And now, you know, he's starting to change. He's building equipment now, and he's going to start selling equipment.
Well, I can tell you, I've done the office. I've sat in a cubicle for 11 years, and now I'm out moving around doing HVAC stuff.
Hey, that's what I do.
Killing myself for somebody else, and I would much rather work from daylight to dark for myself.
I do HVAC too, Jason.
I actually do building controls, the building automation part, but that's hard to describe to some people.
I do that too. I work for Train.
Really?
Yep, Train BAS.
Nothing stops a train.
Hey, I had a train chiller one time I couldn't start, and I kept saying, nothing can start a train. That stupid thing would not run.
Well...
But anyway, I mean, that's kind of cool. Now I know who to call because train controls are a pain in my hind end.
Tracer Summit.
Tracer Summit, the new backnet stuff, the UC200s, UC400s.
Yep.
Had to buy all that new software and bribe all the trained people to sell it to us because nobody wants to sell you the stuff. Yeah,
See
those
that?
suckers right there. Yeah, I see it. I got a whole building full of it.
Hey, send them to me.
We're in North Carolina. Where are you?
South Dakota.
Yeah, that's going to be a heck of a ride. But yeah, a lot of Train, a lot of Johnson Controls, a lot of Distech. Off the topic of bees, but hey, that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you enjoy. I mean, that's, I've been at it, and I'd rather do this for nothing than to go work for someone that I didn't like it for $500 an hour, just to sit there, and it's just like being in prison. You can't do nothing. You're not your own person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always been my goal too with the whole bee thing is I have no interest in getting rich. I just want to be independent.
Well, I mean, that's what I am now. Is, we've got two kids that are sitting over here laughing at me because they think me talking to the computer is funny, and my wife doesn't work. We get by. Our bill, like Don said, our bills are paid. We're not hungry, and that's all I need. I don't need fancy stuff and a lot of material stuff.
Well, the thing is that the job that you do, you have to feel satisfied. And it's not the amount of money that I charge someone. It's when they come back to me in a year or 5 years, and I see they're successful. It's just like Bluebird, Flippin' Bee. I've got a bunch of students from all over. When you get a person coming halfway across the country, I had a fella come from Kansas City or Wichita, and I got one that called me last week from Jamaica and wants to come up to take classes. And I said, that's ridiculous. Find you somebody there. I am not the only person can teach you any beekeeping. The only thing I can teach you is not to make the same mistakes that I made. And it's costly when you start making mistakes.
Oh, yeah. And I don't want to make the mistakes somebody else has already made.
Where you're at, North Carolina, you can make mistakes and get away with it. Where David's at, he's in the same situation I used to be in Ohio. You screw up, you can't fix your screw up until the next year. And that's what I did. I did a lot of, listening to other people, and they try to tell you to do this and do that, and you do it, you're screwed over until the next year, because in Ohio and in South Dakota, you got a short growing season, and everything has to click just right, or you got to wait until next year.
Yeah, I'm seeing that firsthand, because it's, you realize the mistakes you made, and then you go, well, I'm going to do this different next year, and then it's like, oh, but that's next year.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, if you can just glean 5% of what I'm preaching at you, you should do all right. You're making honey, so you're not killing your bees, so you've got to be having some survive.
Yeah, I keep buying a lot of bees every year, though. I gotta figure out how to keep them alive over the winter so I could stop buying bees.
Well, you shouldn't have to buy bees, really. You're going to have a certain amount.
Yeah.
But, numbers. Build your numbers up, and then you can replace your bees yourself, other than just wanting to, improve genetics.
How much do you lose, Don?
Do what?
How many do you lose through the winter?
Well, right now, I got about 90% of my boxes that are empty. And if you look at my videos where people say you can only sell bees in the spring, well, those people are ill-informed, because I sell more bees from September to November than anything else. And in November, I sold a bunch of nukes, and I actually put one of them up that came down to buy nukes from me in November to show people. And the things that I do on videos is to show people what you're hearing is not the truth, It's like people say, you catch a swarm in July, you might as well let it go because you're not going to do nothing. And when I kept hearing that, I put packages in the last week in November, dumped them in a 5-frame box, turned around and sold them for $175 5 to 6 weeks later.
Yeah, I watched that one you made. I think it's in September, where it said you got up and took your crazy pills, and you're out there splitting.
Well, that's me. I'm gonna tell you the way it is, and if you want to try it, make money. I mean, I can tell you what works, what don't work, whether you buy bees from me or anybody else. I mean, bees only gonna do 2 things. That's all they do.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna head out of here, and David, if you get it set up next week, just send me a link, and I'll get on here just a little before 8 next Saturday, and we'll see if we can't get a bunch of people up and ask me some questions that'll stump me.
Okay, I'll schedule it on Monday for Saturday at 8.
Okay, that'll be fine.
And then send out some reminders Saturday afternoon probably.
Okay. That'll be great. All right, nice talking to you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks,
too.
John.
All right, we'll see you.
See you later, Jason.